well, but we're actually just gonna see a standard Stargate opener. But we'll keep that in the back of our heads for the rest of the series. Perhaps something will happen there, but for now it's just going to be a warp gate into Stargate.
And yes, indeed. And most likely it's going to be a Void Ray, I would expect, into Oracles, or do you ever see Oracles first still?
Slightly unlikely, especially because the third unit already is going to be an adept, right? You do need something to deny the vision, and Trap is always very keen on denying that vision. It would surprise me to see an Oracle first here.
All right. Phoenix is, of course, still in the cards, but no, it's going to be a Void Ray as expected. And yeah, pretty normal stuff here on the side of Trap, so I'm loving it. And on the other side, Scarlett also extremely standard. She made 4 circlings or so, and then she's just droning up.
Yeah.
Big zoom in on the hatchery there.
She's already starting the creep spread towards the front, by the way, rather than trying to connect the main and the third base. And this could indicate a queen push later on, and I wouldn't mind that too much, as the one thing that I did notice in Trap's play is that he tends to be a little bit more liberated in some ways than other Protosses. It's where he doesn't feel the need to play as safe sometimes. He likes attacking to Force and Twilight really fast, skipping out on the Robo, skipping out on those quick disruptors, and perhaps he has a way to deal with Queen Walks that I'm not completely aware of, but a lot of his build orders didn't seem completely safe. And then randomly he sometimes mix in a Dark Shrine, or he'd randomly mix in a really quick Robo Bay or something like that to basically make the Zerg gamble. Hey, when can I Queen Walk? When can't I Queen Walk? This time, however, we are seeing a second Stargate. Wow, this is actually doing quite a bit of damage here. Look at that Void Ray going ham. This Oracle also doing a lot of damage. Big damage here coming out of Trap. It's gonna keep the Oracle alive as well. Was that 2 Overlords and 5 drones? I think so, right?
Yes, indeed. Yeah, beautiful angling from the Void Ray there, right? It's much easier to just walk the Void Ray into the third, but Trap instead walks it at an angle so that the queens are forced to answer it to the left, and then the Oracle goes on the right. Just really nice moves. And yeah, the Forge is about to finish. There is a Disruptor on the way, and I imagine we're going to see Charge, especially seeing as how you've mentioned he's going to be a little bit low on gas, but he does have 4 Adepts already. Is there any possibility that he transitions into Glaives, or is it too late for that?
It would surprise me extremely much. I think these Adepts are more of a leftover. Last night's dinner's leftover, and Traps as well. Maybe I want to use him for some map control. I like look at how he controls the map with the few units that he has. Look at the beautiful vision. That's actually super cool to see. You don't see this a lot. This is more of a kind of a Terran thing to have this much map control at the 7-minute mark. And this is making Scarlett a little bit afraid. She is droning up even more. 9 extra drones are being added. Hydra then is going down, and she should be getting a hive soon as well. Wants to be going into those Vipers most likely. But yeah, she's pretty freaking blind right now.
Yeah, she certainly is. Maybe looking for that later transition. I mean, she really has no information, like you were saying. Trap has done a wonderful job of keeping both watchtowers, one with a lot of Void Rays and the other one with the disposable units that you were mentioning. +1 now on the way for Trap, and he's not using the Stargates for the time being, but instead adding a lot of gateways. Also cannons, though, so I'm not sure that he's going to look to be aggressive with these.
Cannons could, of course, also be for a counter-attack, and we see a cannon per mineral line, so perhaps even was afraid of Mutalisk here, slightly misreading the game. Hasn't really, ever since he lost the Oracle, well, he saw the Infestation Pit, but I mean, not much else yet. Only really been seeing Roaches and Lynx, I believe, or maybe not even any Roaches. So I'm not completely surprised by that. It actually does look like Trap is going to be aggressive, but I mean, unless he hits some really good Disruptor shots, this army just looks like crap in my opinion.
It really does. This is the first warping that he gets from those gateways. He just added a 3rd Stargate. He hasn't been using his 2nd Stargate, so we'll see what this does. The Disruptor shots are going to be here soon or not, as Trap is going to hold off for the time being. And now coming the Void Rays, a Disruptor shot landing onto a bunch of Ravagers and actually a couple of the Queens as well. There's plenty of transfuse for Scarlett, though, and it looks like she's going to deflect this attack just fine.
Yeah, she tanked those Disruptor shots with absolutely the maximum amount of units, but she's still in a completely fine position. 85 workers here. Hive is done already. +2 is on the way. If her creep spread was a little bit better, I would actually be kind of worried for Trap here. 9 minutes in, just now starting his 4th base. I mean, this doesn't look good for Trap here, Cats.
It really doesn't, yeah. There's Vipers coming as well.
Yeah. I was about to say, I mean, he's getting Storm and he's getting +1 air attack. Sure, he probably will be able to survive any attacks that Scarlett will throw at him, but Scarlett is in such a comfortable economic position right now. He sees these run-bys come in, because that's going to be the name of the game right now, is that Scarlett probably wants to be doing either a big run-by, get rid of the roaches, or even do a big lurker attack with the majority of their army.
Yeah, very nice preemptive flank here from Trap, identifying that he wants to trap these units instead of fight him at his third base, and he's going to be able to do that. There's no anti-air here, so the Void Rays cut the units off. A couple of Vials looking to land, but won't be able to, and all of these units from Scarlett will fall.
Oh, good attacks though on these Disruptors. Gets 2 Disruptors for free immediately, and without Disruptors, this army, once again, I hate to say it, but it's kind of crap. And this army is even cornered. I don't think he can get away here. Scarlett could just walk into this position for free. There's only 4 lurkers though. If this was 8 or 9 lurkers, I think Trap would be in some major trouble. But because it's only 4, I'm not even sure if Scarlett really wants to engage into this. Gets feedback on one of the Vipers. Prism in the main base as well, trying to do some damage. Hydras and Roaches are coming back home to defend, so that should be okay. 7 drones have gone down though, and Scarlett is kind of bleeding out supply right now.
Yeah, Scarlett needs to find a way out with these units as well. She had to send a lot of units back home. Able to find actually the 2 new Disruptors with them, so it's not going to be a completely horrible trade, but now she's going to run into some cannons and likely get cleared off. These lurkers are super trapped, and yeah, now Trap on the other side of the map at the 5th base of Scarlett is looking for a counter poke, but it's a very small army. Yeah, he's gonna start carrier production, even adding an extra Stargate, so he's ready to lose some units to make room for those. Mothership on the way as well. And he actually made 2 fleet beacons, so a little bit of a mistake, but it's not going to cost him too much. A little bit of a Zealot counter poke yet again. We'll deal with some spines. And now the Storm looking to land, and will land to a good group of Hydras. Good Disruptor readjustments there at the last second from Trap. Will net him a few Hydras. But yeah, I think this is kind of perfect for Trap, right? Like, he needs to lose some units to start that carrier production.
Yeah, there is an opportunity though, Cat. There is an opportunity. 3-1 is about to finish up. These Vipers have energy, and there's a crap ton of lurkers here. Right now, what does Trap really have? And the answer is practically nothing that can really deal with lurkers. I mean, there's 1 Disruptor, there's 4 Templars, but this 5th base is just gone. I don't think this 5th base can be defended. Trap is going to try, loses 1 Templar immediately, has a counterattack set up though, and is also defending the right side attack that Scarlett is attempting. Not quite gonna work, but this 5th base is gone. That's a start.
Yeah, yes indeed, and the Zealots are clicked onto the hatchery. Oftentimes my Zealots would have run towards that army right away, but these Zealots are well clicked onto the hatchery. On the other side, the Void Rays are gonna go to the other hatchery and try to take it down, but there's a few Hydras and the Spore. They're ready. It's not gonna be enough for the time being. 1 Void Ray getting super low. We'll have to get microed back. And yeah, the game will restabilize. Trap still on just 4 base though. He probably wants a 5th really soon.
Losing 6 lurkers
wow.
for free like that, kind of painful. It's 5 lurkers. Nah, well, this one at least gets no, doesn't even get a probe. So 6 for free. Void Ray still trying to be annoying on the right side as well, keeping part of that army busy. Vipers right now just kind of standing around in nothingness. We'll be joining up with that Hydra lurker army, but soon we have a carrier count that Scarlett will need to start respecting. The upgrades for the carriers are not looking too great yet, just +1, but the anti-air on Scarlett's side also isn't huge, right? What do we really have? We have 20 Hydras, we have a couple of Queens, and we have some Vipers, but Carrier Templar does tend to deal with armies like these very effectively.
Yeah, this is a tiny army. We'll get a deny on the 5th, and maybe that's good enough for Scarlett, but like you said, there's no transition to Corruptors or anything to deal with the air. The Hydras are gonna do very poorly against this army, especially because there's already Storm Infestors are not an option. And at least these Void Rays are gonna get deflected, and maybe this is the opening that Scarlett needed to drop a Spire or something.
Or the opening Scarlett needed to move across the map and attack this 4th base. That's exactly what she's doing. Lurker's not burrowing. The movement of Scarlett is a little bit chaotic right now.
Yeah, I would have loved for her to go in there, because now she's gonna have an impossible task to defend this potentially. She's gonna get a huge surround at least, so that could help out, but a lot of her army not here yet. The Lurkers are gonna burrow and try to deal with the High Templars. The Disruptors are there to answer. The Vipers are doing what they can, abducting the ground units, but it's the air that's gonna be the problem in the end, Kevin.
Yeah, there's really no Hydras here yet. Hydras are being caught in the middle of the map by different carriers. In the moment that carriers are chasing Hydras, you know you're usually in a bad spot. Trap is trying to kind of position himself in a way where all of his units are not fighting together. We see 2 carriers dealing with queens on the right side, 2 carriers dealing with 4 lurkers on the left, and then the main army is pretty much left free at this point. There's still a lot of storms available as well. Once you have storms and there's only Hydras to deal with those carriers, you're gonna be in trouble if you're a Zerg player. That's exactly what's happening here. GG gets called. This is, by the way, the build I was talking about earlier, and this is kind of what I expected on Lightshade, and this is what makes Scarlett having the natural even better. And the reason for that is that if she has the natural at the 3rd base locations, the drones will be mining there. Which means that either the drones need to run away, or she needs to have enough units in place to ensure that these adepts can't kill drones. Right now, what she could potentially do, she could just wall the natural. What are you gonna do, Trap? You don't have a prism, you don't have anything. If she just walls the natural and runs like the 4 or 5 drones from the 3rd base away, she's gonna be completely fine. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see that. She's already starting a wall with the Roach Warren. She's getting a lot of drones though. I'm a little bit afraid here. I'm actually a little bit scared.
Yeah, she's gonna see that probe moving now to take the 3rd as well, so that might give her a false sense of confidence. But Trap hasn't really added any additional adepts just yet. Glaives is done. Now the first warping of 3 adepts comes out, and this is gonna hit with a very small number of adepts. I mean, this is pretty unscary, right? It's just a few adepts. It's hitting a little bit later than the normal adept timing. At the same time, there is a 3rd, so Scarlett might be caught off guard.
Yeah, but she isn't. Look at that. Perfect response. Not getting any roaches, just pure links against this. Do have to be careful that you don't underbuild links or overbuild links. You actually do have to trade at some point, so I don't mind that she's doing it already. I need to pull away the drones. That was a little bit of a slow response. A lot of the links moving too far in towards the 3rd base. And even though this seemed to be a good response initially, I think now it isn't looking all too hot anymore. 5 drones have gone down, 4 roaches in production as well, but all of these extra links and the roaches kind of seem wasted.
Yeah, I mean, with these roaches, now after making those roaches and seeing that there's no follow-up, I think you have to move across the map. Maybe try to make something happen at the 3rd. I would love to see maybe even Queens pulled, because she really needs to counterattack here. It's 8 drones lost for nothing. Scarlett is lagging behind 15 workers already. Oh, is she nice?
Is this gonna be a good trade though? I'm not even sure.
Yeah, it looks like barely.
Yeah, it's gonna be fine. She cleans up these adepts, which means there's not gonna be a counterattack here for Trap. What units does Trap has? Nothing, cats. He has an Immortal about to finish up, and he has 3 sentries. Single battery in the mineral line. Oh, links are moving in. The sentry's gonna die.
Yeah, that's really nice. Shield battery's not done yet either. The links going after the sentries. Nice jukes there with the probes and the battery overcharge in the back. It's gonna provide Trap with a backbone here at this 3rd base. It's still not looking like enough. The Immortal is gonna struggle to get out. The Overlord was pooping creep as well. So that's a beautiful move for Scarlett to try and reinforce. Catches the Immortal actually, and that's amazing. She's almost caught up in workers at this point, breaching into the natural. The Overseer takes a bile for the team. And this is looking decent for Scarlett. Good, great even.
Yeah, I should be careful to not lose all of those links for free in the natural. However, with all these gates empowered, with the Immortal empowered, what do we have for production? There's a single gate left. Trap has to tap out, and this is the danger.
Yeah, he sure has been. Very interesting position for the Stargate from Trap this time around. The Overlord from Scarlett poked in but didn't find anything. The Stalker was on the low ground instead of the high ground. Otherwise, it might have gotten to poke at that Overlord. But I mean, it's obviously not a forward position. It's not going to be super helpful to help Trap transverse the map right away with Oracles. But the Void Ray will be unspotted, and that's going to feel kind of good.
We do have a robotics facility on the way, but this robotics facility started at what? 4:45. Means disruptors are going to be out at what? 6:25, 6:30-ish. If even. Maybe even a little later. 6:50. If this is a Queen Walk, and I think this is looking like a Queen Walk, Trap might be in a little bit of trouble, and this is not an easy map to defend the Queen Walk on, because you once again get that situation where you're kind of split. Your natural and your 3rd aren't easy to defend in one position, and Super Battery can't help you in that big dead area in between your natural and 3rd. Look at the creep threat of Scarlett already. Look how far that is.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. Now, Kevin, you mentioned that there is this third and fourth gases being taken relatively early for Trap if he wanted to go for a Queen Walk. So surely, or for Scarlett rather, surely Trap sees those gases and thinks that this is a possibility as well, right? He spotted them right away with the Oracle. So what adjustments does he need to be making, or what adjustments has he made in order to try and hold here?
Okay, so there's two routes you can take here, I suppose. The one route is Disruptor with a lot of static defense, and the other route is going into Void Rays and +1 and just chrono boosting out those Void Rays. Make sure that you can keep your wall up. I would even love for him to full wall his natural right now. That could be a big deal, and then high chrono these Void Rays for your dear life. This is what Zest likes to do as well, but I mean, if there's just too many queens, there's too many queens. Right now there's 8 queens, there's 6 Void Rays. I'm a little bit worried though for Scarlett because she halted queen production for a bit. There's a lot of transfuses ready, but what is there really here for Trap to deal with these Ravagers? Not a whole lot.
Yeah, there's 2 batteries about to finish, and this is going to be huge. The battery overcharge likely to be spent pretty soon here. A lot of batteries at the third, but that's not going to help the natural base defense of Trap. There's that lack of a wall of coming in favor of Scarlett as she takes down the overcharged battery as well, which was a little bit further forward. The +1 will never come online as the Cybercore will be taken down, and now the Void Ray is trying to do what they can. There's still a few queens left over. 1 Void Ray will fall, and it's looking really good for the Shopify Rebel here.
Yeah, Lynx are streaming in as well. Need to be careful though, the Ravager Biomicro hasn't been brilliant. Needs to focus a little more on making the Void Rays lose DPS. Every single time you just throw a single bio on the Void Rays, you're fine. Single Immortal comes out. No transfuse is being used. I think there was a transfuse available in the back.
Yep.
So a lot of damage being done though.
Yeah, this is still looking really good for Scarlett. There's also free reign to go into the main if she wanted to, but it looks like she's just looking to close out the game here. And she can. She still has 6 queens. There's enough Void Rays, I think, that can deal with the queens, but maybe not with the Ravagers forcing repositions with those vials. The queens are not clumped up, however, so this Void Ray is looking for an angle here where they can attack, and now with the shield battery overcharge, they're going to be able to stabilize. The Void Ray is still going after the Ravagers, somewhat surprisingly to me, and Scarlett is still doing tons of damage. No reinforcements, though.
Yeah, the fact that +1 didn't finish is such a huge deal right now, because otherwise a counterattack perhaps could have been viable, but without +1, I think Queens and Sport are going to be good enough. Natural goes down, 65 workers on the side of Scarlett, 5 Hydras on the way already. I saw an Evo Chamber finish up earlier, 4th base is on the way as well. Trap is going to retake his natural, which will now, I guess, technically be his 3rd base, so kind of pulling a Zerg over there. He's like, oh, take my... His natural is now at his 3rd, but I mean, he's going to need to do a crap ton with these Void Rays, and without +1, I am not seeing it happen here, Cats. I think we're looking at a victory here for the Canadian.
Maybe so, but I think that it should have been a better victory. I think that if she had just reinforced with Lynx and gone into that main, it was so very exposed. She crashed through the defenses at the natural base. The 3rd was unbreachable, but I still think that Trap stands a chance here. He still has a lot of Void Rays. He might be able to find a hatchery at some point, already re-establishing his natural base. The problem is he really has nothing to deal with the ground as far as disruptors or anything like that. He's adding back a robo, 2 robos actually, and I kind of like that. And I feel like if those robos come out and the first batch of disruptors comes out, Trap could still stabilize.
And we do indeed have the robo base. That was a good call. And yeah, I mean, it's what you said as well. Trap agrees with it. Disruptors are really the only viable path to victory. But yeah, honestly, it's a very blurry road ahead for Trap.
Yeah, especially with Scarlett now knocking on his doorstep. Scarlett is going to be pushing forward onto this Void Race. There's not enough to deter her advances, and it looks like she's going to position herself at the natural here and start biling down whatever she can. The battery is spent already, so that's going to buy Trap a little bit of time. If he can get this disruptor shots out and land a couple, then that could be the way to restabilize. Good force fields will help as Trap has warped in additional sentries, but Scarlett is advancing relentless. Where do you even spawn the disruptors, behind or in front?
Yeah, you have to behind almost, no? Otherwise you just get targeted down. Let's see what Trap does. Yes, he does go for behind. Shoots 2 disruptor shots. They're just going to take out his own robo base. Scarlett actually takes the series and puts herself in the winner's match here. I think something not a lot of people would have predicted, but I mean, definitely a possibility after that Lightshade game, yeah.
Yeah.
You're just a single queen walk away from victory, and that's exactly what she did here. That early game not good enough for Trap.